Good evening, my name is Mr. Hanley. I'm here to talk to you tonight a little bit about a disorder called Fragile X. So, why talk about Fragile X? Well, I'm here to raise a little bit of awareness on this. This is the most common form of intellectual inherited disability. Even though it's most common, it's one most people don't know about, so let's provide a little bit of education and awareness on the topic. So, why do I feel like I'm credible to talk about this? Mainly because I have two sons with Fragile X, and ever since their diagnosis about 6 months ago, I have strived to educate myself to better prepare for their future. So I would like to say that I'm quite knowledgeable on this subject. So, what I'm going to talk about today is some of the prevalent or demographic information on how likely it is to have Fragile X here in America. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit about what characteristics we expect in someone with Fragile X, be it intellectual characteristics or physical characteristics. Alright, so as I stated, first I want to talk about some of the prevalence statistics for this disorder. So, the numbers are 1 in 3,600 males will have this disorder, and 1 in 4,000 females will have this disorder. Now, the number for females is a little bit distorted because females have 2 X chromosomes, and this disease is on the X chromosome. So if one is faulty, the other one may compensate. So the 4,000 is a rough estimate for females. Males are a little bit easier to diagnose because if one X isn't working, there's no other X to compensate for it. Alright, so moving on to some of the characteristics. First I'll talk about some of the intellectual characteristics of Fragile X. It has a strong tie to autism. So with autism comes a bunch of behavioral and social awkwardness. And Fragile X has some of that, to include poor eye contact, shyness, social anxiety, the hand clapping, and developmental delays. Also, their IQ is generally about 70. That's an average. It's a spectrum disorder, so it's not every person has an IQ of 70. Some will be much lower, some will be a little higher. Alright, so with an IQ of 70, there's a high chance that the individual will have to have a caregiver with them for the entirety of their lives. Now, the amount of time a caregiver has to devote to this child or adult is going to be highly dependent where they are on the spectrum, if they're above 70 or if they're below 70. And that directly correlates to how much time the caregiver needs to spend with them. Alright, some physical characteristics of this disorder. Think Dopey of the Seven Dwarfs. I believe he was modeled after someone with Fragile X. He has big floppy ears, very prominent nose, and a larger chin than the average person. And actually that can get quite enhanced in some individuals. Some physical characteristics that aren't as readily visible are going to be macroorchidism, large testicles. They'll also be hyperreflexive, so or double jointed might be a term you're more familiar with. Also, they lack the muscle tone many other people of comparable age groups will have. And this is another effect of this disorder, and also one of the reasons why it's called Fragile X. Alright, so I leave you with the desire that this has enlightened you, maybe provided you a little bit of education on this disorder. I highly encourage you to go out and research more on your own. Just to give you a brief introduction to this, that there may be more than meets the eye on someone you see who you can tell is a little bit different than you are. So, what we talked about today, gave you some demographic information, prevalence in America. We also talked a little bit about intellectual and physical characteristics of this disorder. Alright. So, the field of genetic research is advancing quite a bit in the last few years, and a greater understanding of Fragile X has been developed. Also, understanding of possible treatments. So, it is a newly defined disorder, but it's not new. It's something we can actually approach now as a society to help find a cure for or provide additional aid for. And I leave you with the hope that this has provided you another lens with which to see people with disabilities, developmental disabilities. Thank you very much for your time, and have a good night.